Well, hey, it's that time again. And hold on here. I made a mistake here. Oh, there we go. I end up removing Charlie instead of Chris. So hey guys, hey, welcome to this week's show. We are super stoked because I've been trying to get our two guests on for the last couple of months. And but I want to introduce myself for the guys that don't know who I am. I am Rich Segarra, the founder and CEO of Operation Vets with Nets. And there's my buddy. Okay, I think I'm starting to get it right now. There's my buddy Charlie. Charlie
Pleasure to
is
meet
the
everybody.
founder of River Chronicles. And I'm going to tell you what, you want to talk about someone painting a story and seeing cool stuff. This is what you got to do. You got to go over and number one, click and subscribe to our channel, as well as
Yes, please.
also subscribe to River Chronicles. So
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
if you're watching from YouTube, click subscribe.
What's up, Reese?
Hey, we got some people coming in. All right. Hey, what's going on? Hey, there's Jody.
There's Miss
Hey, guys. All
Jody.
right. So let's
What's
talk
up,
about
Jody?
let's talk about what we're about. You know, I think everybody knows what Operation Vets with Nets about. We're about taking out vets on cost-free catfishing trips, providing that real therapy. And bottom line is that's what Charlie does as well. And it doesn't have to be a vet. Charlie takes anybody who wants to go, and he really documents that whole journey.
Yep.
And so that's why we decided to start this show, this podcast called America's Finest Heroes: Their Journey to Real Therapy. Hey, thanks. Yep, thanks guys for being here. And this show is all about talking with the captains and the vet that they've taken out and hearing about their journey to real therapy for the day. So without further ado, I'm going to bring out Shane Collings, who is our co-captain of the day, because I was the captain. We were out on the wheelchair boat, which I'm excited to say tomorrow you'll see it all over Facebook, the new and improved. We had to repower it, and because we were having too many issues with the motor. And then we also, thanks to my newest sponsor, Power Pole, we have a set of power poles with drift paddles on the boat, which is super exciting.
Wow.
Man, when I saw them working today, I was like, oh my goodness. And then we have Chris Davis. He's our veteran Air Force guy. And so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring everybody on. And for you people in Facebook land, I can't see when you make comments. I just see the comments. I can't see who it is. So if you then just post your name after you make a comment, at least we know who it is.
Yep.
All right. So here we go. So as I said, we've got Shane Collings, one of right down there, right below me over there. Shane is one of our captains with Operation Vets with Nets, a good dear friend of mine. And then over in that corner down there, we got Chris, U.S. Air Force vet.
Yeah, Chair Force.
That's right, Chair Force.
Somebody's got to keep the chairs down.
Air Force push-ups. I remember those.
I'll take it. I'll take it all day.
Hey, There you go. Number love, Mr. Chris.
We're going to talk about today. We had an opportunity. We were out on the wheelchair boat, me and Shane, and we took Chris out during the biggest North Carolina versus Virginia tournament on the East Coast. And that was Ice Bowl 2024. That tournament's been around for many years. It was my first time fishing it. We had a blast. I mean, it was, if you guys remember, it was, if it was it a couple weeks ago, I had 3 of the 4 Navy vets on here. And when I tell you that trip was a whole comedy show, That's how this one was as well. Those 2 trips were by far gonna have burnt in my memory because it was a blast. It was a complete blast. And we're gonna hear about it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and first introduce our vet because I want to find out how he found out about us. And then he can walk us through his, all the way up until he met with me and Shane. And then me and Shane will share some things with you, and we'll just, for the next 45 minutes or so, we'll talk about that. Hey, what's going on there, Evan? So, well, Chris, tell us about yourself. Tell us how you found out about Operation Vets with Nets.
Good. Hey, first of all, Rich, Charlie, Shane, thank you so much for having me on. I first and foremost, I was looking for an opportunity to do something as a veteran myself. I spent 7 years in the Air Force as a computer programmer, writing programs for things that were out in the desert. But I was looking for a way of giving back to veterans, how to get people involved as a veteran myself. Spend quite a bit of time at the VA hospital myself. But as I was going through and being a catfisher man, wanting to do more, I was looking for a new rod. Let's start there. And I actually found Operation Vets with Nets through a link that was on Mad Cat's website when I was looking at their fishing rods. And I clicked over to Operation Vets with Nets. I saw what they were about, that they are, I mean, what I thought was here in Virginia, which is great, and they are. Um, and I really wanted to get involved with the organization. So I reached out. Rich actually reached back out to me and said, because I wanted to do stuff, volunteer my time. I don't have a boat, but I do have fishing rods. And just what could I do? What could I possibly do to help the organization with what they do for veterans? I've almost committed the whole thing to memory, but I'll let you can read about that as far as a 503c nonprofit organization who gives back to the veterans, who gives back to active duty and, military folks. Their key phrase, you see it in a couple places on the screens and on the website, real therapy, REEL therapy. It's true. Going out there and going fishing was amazing. You'll hear more about the trip. But when I reached out to Rich, he actually contacted me and said, "Look, before you volunteer, before you do anything, what I want you to do is I want you to be a guest of the organization. I want you to come in. I want you to see how it is that we treat other folks, right?" And that's what it did. We planned it out, and it was, like Rich said, it was one of the largest catfishing tournaments, certainly on the East Coast. Battle between North Carolina and South Carolina, which is really kind of weird because here, North Carolina and Virginia, because it's really weird. I'm from North Carolina. I'm living in Virginia. So which state am I representing?
And that's funny because I have a house in both. I got a house in North Carolina and a house in Virginia.
See, I'll be in Virginia this weekend. I'll be in North Carolina next weekend. That's where my family is. So, but I mean, he reached out. We planned everything out, met up where I can't remember where it was, but it was truly amazing. And just to be able to be a guest, to be able to go out there and experience not just a fishing trip, but a fishing tournament. national people in all sorts of social media sites and everything else were there, and you got to see them. They're real life people, just like we are. So to be involved with that, go out there, spend a little bit of time, to me, a little bit of quiet time, a little bit of fun time, a whole lot of laughing time. um, just that's therapy. For somebody who, I don't know how much y'all want to know, for somebody who in 2022, I came down with COVID. I was sick for 2.5 weeks with that. I ended up getting double pneumonia from that. Got over that. Everything's fine. I'm out in the yard doing work. And all of a sudden, I was peeing blood. So I ended up going into the VA hospital and find out, El Gato, hello, finding out that I actually had bladder cancer. So going through that over the last couple years, and some various other things that were mentally challenging since I got out. Mentally, I wasn't in a super place. Physically, I wasn't in a super place. But going out there and knowing that there are other people out there like me, going out and finding out that there's an organization that can get together with each other, can bring veterans together, can do something for veterans and first responders that in some cases they didn't know that they could do. The boat that we're on is wheelchair accessible. Not that I needed it or anybody else, but it's there. And these guys and girls who are in wheelchairs who may no longer feel like they have an opportunity of going out, getting a fishing rod in their hand, catching a 5-pound fish or a 95-pound fish. The chances are there. And that's amazing.
It is.
That feeling alone, it's amazing.
So let's start out. So Shane and I were both co-captains on the wheelchair boat, and so at this time it was on Car Reservoir, and the water was muddy from all this rain and all this debris. And so Shane went out a couple days before trying to spot some stuff, and we ended up Shane and I met up on that. Was it Friday? It was Friday, right?
Yep, it was Friday morning.
Yeah. So Shane and I went up because we had to get some bait. He brought some eels. He brought some what kind of shad was that? What was that shad that you brought?
That alewives.
Yeah, you bought a bunch of those. But we really there you go. Charlie got the eats going on.
See?
But we really wanted perch. And so we were down in a place, and it was the clearest part of all of Carr was Nutbush Creek. And that's Shane's stomping grounds, Carr. I mean, he lives up there. Matter of fact, did you move into the new place yet?
I've got about 18 more days.
Oh my goodness. Now I know where I'm going to be fishing all the time.
It's coming quick.
And so Shane and I meet, and we're not finding anything. And then Michael Harris, one of our other captains, he was up there a few days even prior to us, and he said, hey, if you're going to be at Nutbush, you need to check this place out called Red Bank. So we start heading that way, and next thing you know, I'm listening and I'm hearing dunk, 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 dunk. And all I'm thinking about is a thumper box because I have one as myself. I've got to get it repaired. But all of a sudden I saw a couple of boats with thumper boxes. And so we're coming up on a guy, and they were fishing for perch as well. And I asked him, I said, hey, do you mind if me and my brother just kind of park a little bit away from you here just to take advantage of that thumper box? These guys were great. They were awesome. They're like, hey, listen, feel free. And so we did. And what did we put? Like 50 shad in the boat in like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so we were just, yeah. So like I'm sitting there with a just a down rig, a bottom rig, and as soon as I dropped it in, boof, I started pulling some up. Shane has got the sabiki, nothing. And I said, all right, let's swap sides. And so we swap sides. I'm starting to hit it on the bottom rig. And Shane, all of a sudden, he starts getting a couple at a time, 3, 4 at a time on the sabiki. So it was great. And Chris, I want to have you on air because I want to talk about that trip as well. So we need to talk about getting you on with your vets, and we want to talk about that trip as well. That was super
I
exciting.
want to hear about that one too.
Yeah. So then we're good. And now it was about time. Shane was going to head home, and we were going to meet up at Chris. Chris was coming up. And so we rented a Airbnb. So we covered all that. And it was a hippie house. The woman was so cool. And the house should be on the historical register. They keep trying to do that. But then she would have to put the house back to the original color outside and all that other. She says, ain't happening. She goes, I'm a hippie. And her house stands out but it was gorgeous.
Pinks and blues, flowers,
circles,
curtain drapes. Yeah. True hippie house. But
so then we met up, and then we came back for a little nap, and then we met up back with Shane, and we went to pre-register. And that's when we got to meet a whole lot of people, people I've known, a lot of my Mad Cats brothers, a lot of Operation Vets with Nets brothers out there, Anthony Brown, Derek, and then Shane was with us, Michael Harris, Matt Carter, just a whole bunch of folks, all part of the Operation Vets with Nets team. And then, Shane, what time did we end up getting on the water the next morning?
I want to say we actually put in about 3:00.
So why don't you share with us from that aspect of things?
Well, I messaged Rich the night before, making sure we had everything we needed, and they called for some unusual warmer temperature, and I asked them if we needed a heater. Rich said no, we should be good. So we got on the water, and I guess we were all pumped up, ready to fish this tournament, and we really didn't get cold until about 6 a.m. when it really started getting chilly. And me and Chris had to listen to Rich all day about forgetting the heater.
What are you talking about? You didn't even ask about the heater. He shows up, and I'm like, dude, where's the heater? Oh, I forgot it. No. And it was, oh my gosh, and I'm sitting there, and I'm starting to get chilly. Now, I think this was the first trip we had with the enclosure on. Yep. So that was another good thing. We just got the enclosure, and that worked great, except for 3:00 in the morning, And literally the fog was so thick that we had all condensation inside from our warm bodies in the cold air. You couldn't see, literally, I couldn't see my trolling motor. And so thank God for my charts. And we're just putting along real slow. We're trying to go mark some areas. We're going along, and literally could not see anything. And finally, it was so bad that I had Chris unzip the little window. I said, all right, you're going to be the lookout. And so he played lookout, and he's sticking his head out there, and we're only putting along about 5-6 miles an hour because literally could not see anything.
It felt like it was a whole lot faster than that from my vantage point.
Well, you had to stick your head outside. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Safety comes first before comfort. And then we're sitting there, and finally, about 6:30, because we couldn't put rods in before 6. So literally, we started we saw where we wanted to go. We were marking some fish, and as soon as 6 o'clock hit, all lines were dropped, and we're starting to troll. And I will tell you, I mean, the pictures as the sun was coming up, and Chris caught a lot of good pictures. Simply gorgeous. God's creation. It was phenomenal. The views were incredible. And off we went. So Shane, I'm going to shut up for a little bit and let you kind of share a little bit of our day and let you and Chris go back and forth, and I'm just going to sit here and shut up.
All right. I mean, it was a beautiful morning, but it turned out to be tough fishing. Not just for us, but apparently for everybody. We did see some good fish brought in, but it was just tough all around. I believe me and Rich kept Chris laughing pretty much all day. Yeah, I mean,
that's part of what kept me warm.
Yeah, next time we'll definitely bring a heater.
Yeah, 85 degrees, sun fully shining. Rich has got a heater beside him.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that was the first time me and you had really met and hung out besides at the captain's meeting that night. We talked a little bit about the service and so forth, and you spent some time in the Air Force. So what exactly did that day actually do for you as far as real therapy?
Oh my gosh. First of all, let me start with the very early morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, dark as can be. You want to be able to see the stars and the moon. When I had my head out the window, the window, looking to make sure that we weren't going to hit any drift or anything else, I kept this one star in my sight, and it kept moving away. And I'm like, okay, we need to go back this way. I totally forgot that Rich had his charts up, and he's in the middle of the channel. And he's doing fine. All I needed to do was look for the sticks. But, from the time that we actually stopped, we found our spot down there, got everything ready. We're sitting there talking. We're having breakfast. Thank you for the biscuits, by the way. That's when it really started, the real therapy, because just getting to know each other more so than when we were at the captain's meeting, because everybody's around, just getting to know each other and having laughs. I mean, I don't think it was very long before we were like three brothers just jagging on each other. And that's how it should be. Sun starts coming up, as Rich said. We put the lines out. We put the I can't remember what they're called.
Planer
Planer.
board.
Planer boards. We put the planer boards out, get them in line, and yeah, I took a picture at one point. I went to the front of the boat. I'm looking. The
I'm gonna look
sun
and see if I
has
can
not come
find
up
it to
yet.
show people.
Yeah. Um, the sun hasn't even come up yet, but it's starting to get light. It's kind of like the colors that you see behind me here. And those planer boards in a line. It was as if, I mean, whoever was doing things there, God was with us, whatever. It was beautiful at that stage. And I just looked at that and I went, I'm at peace. Light's coming up better. Birds are starting to float around. You're hearing things break the water. Okay, we're here. Now, throughout the day, we moving one spot to another. We had spotted some fish. We went back up to the bridge, tried to find that big fish. You know, I guess the fish are going to move, aren't they? Um, every place that we went, they were moving to the next place that we were going, and by the time we got to that place, they had moved on to another place. I don't care. You know, it would have been would it have been great if we had gotten a 40-50 pound fish? Sure. Did I settle for a 0 pound fish? Absolutely. And I wouldn't, that one right there, I wouldn't change anything for the world, because spending time with you, spending time with Rich, the other folks, but really out there with you guys, learning as I'm doing it. I've never used a planer board. You know, now I've talked to folks, and I talked to Alpha Board's owner, and you know, I'm on the James River here in Richmond. I may get a couple planer boards just to get my lines out to the middle of the river.
Mhm.
So, but
And what you're describing, Chris, is the journey. It's there's a lot of stuff that gets lost in translation, because fish is not what it used to be 40 years ago, right? On this July, I'm entering my 47th year fishing, right? And this isn't about me. This is about you guys. But you've mentioned three things that, first of all, you're very mesmerizing as you tell your story. First of all, so very engaging. And here's the thing: is that most fishermen, or a lot of fishermen, or whoever, I don't care, they think, oh, I gotta catch this fish, this monster fish. Everything you described is the opposite of that. Because when you focus on that, you lose what you just said, the camaraderie, a little story. Oh, the getting up at 3:30, the freaking fog, the condensation on the enclosure and peeking your head out. That's what makes it. But and everyone's gonna do their own thing. That's all good. I'm one of the
yeah,
biggest proponents of BU, genuine, original. I'm all for it. And earlier you said whether it's 5 pounds or 95 pounds, and then you said it again, whether it's a 50-pounder or a 0 pounder. Which brings me to my next question. Because to me, it's not about the fish or how big the fish is. I really don't care. I don't need nothing on my wall hanging up. I caught this. It doesn't matter. But you described earlier that you were diagnosed with cancer, right? So can you describe to us like what that felt like when they told you that, then versus what you needed to do after that? And you found operations bits with Nets through Mad Cats. Like how did that? Because it's like this, right? It's called the journey, brother. It's this journey. You just described it. It just did
well, it
this.
is.
It came together.
It
So can you
absolutely.
just move this sucker out the way here? He's a little needy. But yeah, can you describe that for us? Because I think that's because sometimes we tend to lose focus about what real therapy is, and real therapy is
Well,
about being out there and making those memories and getting those adventures.
you when you ask the question about the journey, um, I'm going to speak from the heart. I'm going to speak the truth, and I
Please
hope I
do.
don't offend.
And if you do, it's okay.
Um,
Don't worry about that stuff. I do it
here's
all
the
the time.
thing: life, as I have come to know, as I've come to realize, life is a journey. Okay, I'm not trying to be Joe Dirt or anything else, but um, everything in life has led me to this point right here. Okay, coming out of the Air Force, getting married for the first time, separated, divorced, brought me to here to Richmond. All the things that have happened since then have led me to here. They took me down, life took me down to my core foundation. Getting COVID was scary. Following that up with a diagnosis of cancer. Now, please understand, bladder cancer is the fourth most common cancer out there. When they diagnosed me with cancer, I was scared. I was scared to death, because that C word is one that nobody wants to hear about. Thankfully, the Veterans Hospital educated me and gave me the tools to educate myself to find out what could happen. And I went down rabbit holes. I mean, when I talk about the journey, I went down rabbit holes of watching YouTube videos of people who had cancer and the process and the operations and the chemotherapy and everything else that you've got to do when you've got this diagnosis. I was lucky. Thank God I was lucky. My cancer was not that bad. My chemotherapy was completely different than intravenous. I mean, it wasn't pleasant. Having a catheter where the chemo goes in and soaks in the bladder for 6 hours. I didn't have chemo sickness like a lot of people do. I've got a guy that I work with right now who years ago was diagnosed with brain cancer, and a couple weeks ago, a month ago, he actually got sick. He's now has colitis and he's not doing well. So prayers, I'm going to put it out there. Prayers to Greg and Kim, his wife, who I also work with. But the journey itself, I've been on a long journey, and I got knocked down to the core with a lot of things. And through that, I came out on the top. I'm happier now having cancer, going through cancer, having COVID, all the things. But it led me to the point of when I realized how much the VA had done for me, I wanted to do something back for the veterans. Like I said, I started going fishing for myself. I wanted to go fishing to get away, to get alone, to say a prayer, to have a conversation with God, and it worked. I've been out on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, maybe I skipped church, but I had my church out there on the water, you know?
Yep.
This is where it gets real. I have my church sometimes on the water. Now, it may be Saturday morning, but if given the opportunity of sitting there early morning on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, because I work Monday through Friday, I'm not like some guys who can fish all day long every day. I just might have
I wish.
Christian music playing in the background. I know we all wish sometimes. Some old man might come up, sit beside me, and we start having a conversation, and I'll start preaching. I'm not a preacher, but that's camaraderie. That's Christian fellowship. I want the military fellowship, and Operation Vets with Nets has given me that opportunity and confidence in myself to be able to go out there and do that, to have conversations with the nature guy who's checking to make sure my license is okay, but Hey, you doing good? Yeah, I'm doing good. Everything to me these days goes from one of two places. It either goes for the red, white, and blue or the cross. Okay.
I don't know if you can see that. It says religion is a guy in church thinking about fishing. Relationship is a guy out fishing thinking about God.
It's true.
Oh, I like that. I
It's
I had
like
it on
that.
my
absolutely
face.
true.
That was my Facebook thing for like 2 years. And look at the picture. I don't know if you can see the picture. It's a silhouette of a gentleman, like sort of like a sailboat with two oars. Let's see if I can hold it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I can see that now. Perfect.
It's
Yes.
it's the journey, brother. It's not the outcome. Whether you catch
It's not the
something or
outcome.
not, whether it's a Moby Dick or it's a freak. I caught a bass that big like 2 days ago. I was so excited. Thing was like that big. It's
I
Now,
almost
the
feel
journey.
better, Charlie. I almost feel better when I don't catch anything than catching an itty bitty little dink. I feel like, okay, did I damage him? Is he going to live? At least if you catch a 50 pound, a 20 pound, 30 pound fish, take a picture, put him back in the water. We all practice CPR.
Yeah.
You're fairly certain he's going to live. That itty bitty little minnow, I might have broken his jaw, you know?
Mhm.
that
So,
just means he's bait.
well, see, now that's funny that you say
Look,
that because
that's big.
where I work, there's a lot of
As
guys
long
that
as
go
legal,
fishing.
it's
There's a
good.
lot of bass fishermen. Okay. But they come to realize that when they go fishing and they're talking about all their things, I remind them, not just understand, you caught my bait.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's funny you say that
Yeah.
because Derek, Don and Derek, there are captains down here in Moyock in the Currituck area. They had their son and I guess his friend out. They were fishing on one of the ponds in the back, and caught a nice sized bass. I think it was like 3 pounds something, and a really nice sized crappie. And so a black crappie. So I'm like, man, that's awesome. They caught us some bait. And Derek started laughing. And he said, nah, we put the bass back, but we kept the crappie for my belly. And I was like, I hear you.
For my
You know,
belly.
but I got to ask you, Chris, you
Yeah.
talk about the camaraderie and you talk about, going out with other veterans and building that camaraderie and talking about things. In Operation Vets with Nets, not all our captains are veterans, like such as Shane.
Right.
We got Chris Gemmel out there in Texas. We've got a bunch of guys, Tracy Morris, bunch of guys that aren't veterans. But do you feel that camaraderie, even though they can't relate military wise, that camaraderie and that real therapy still is just as impactful?
Absolutely, 100%. Because you, when you're in the military with folks, you've got a common denominator, and that's the military. You've got a common boss. That's the U.S. president. All the way down, you got things in common. I didn't think about it when I was in the military. When I was in the Air Force, everybody, you always pointed the finger or made fun of somebody else, one of the other branches. When you get out, most do not point fingers or make fun of the other branches. You start coming together because you realize there's a commonality there. Getting out and spending time with a Rich or anybody else, you're spending time with, you're making other groups. Fishermen, people who fish, people who have that in common, that's what that is. That's coming together to do something that other people are not. So that camaraderie that you carry from the Air Force or from the military or from being a first responder, you carry that out to the boat, you carry that to the shore, you carry it to the bank, wherever you're going. And if you see something, look, we all know when you see somebody fishing, you're driving down the road and you see a fishing rod in the back of a truck or a boat going down the road, you want to stop and talk. I do. I want to stop and talk to them. You know, getting to know you, getting to know Shane, getting to know the other captains out there. I don't care whether you're military or not. It's the fact that you're spending the time with me, you're spending the time with my brothers and my sisters. You want to teach. And both you guys, you were teachers that day. You were guides, you were captains, you were teachers, you were brothers, you were role models. I mean, that's what the world is supposed to be. We're supposed to learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to learn from each other. We're supposed to take the time to listen. Look at my face. Wait, I've got my camera backwards. My face, okay? I got 2 ears. I got 1 mouth. We're supposed to listen to our surroundings twice as much as we're supposed to talk about it. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We're supposed to listen twice as much. That means that when somebody's teaching you, you need to listen. If somebody's talking, you need to listen because there's probably a message in there somewhere.
I know Shane was sick and tired of listening to me complain about no heater.
Well, we're lucky the sun came out a little bit and the enclosure it heated up a little bit for us.
It did. It did.
Well, there's a lesson right there. If anybody out there, look,
Yeah.
anybody out there, if you go fishing with Rich, make sure you got a heater. There's a lesson.
So Shane, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, I know you're not a veteran, but you know, there's heroes out there that not all heroes are veterans. There's heroes everywhere. So, so this is about you. It's not about anyone else, no other captains or nothing like that. When you're out there with Operation Veteran Nets and you went out, yeah, Rich was with you, but this is just directed directly at you. Like, what did it feel like when you were taking a veteran? And I hate to say veteran, but just a person, another human being, an individual with you on your boat, on a journey, or whoever boat it was, just on a journey to help them mend. Because sometimes, like we talked about this in previous shows, sometimes people don't even want to fish; they just want to go out there and talk and hang out and do stuff and eat soup in the corner in Rich's boat, right? But so what does that do? Like, I'm just intrigued by that. Like how, because I know what I feel when I'm out there, and I take so many people out, but a lot of people, I'll make videos. Some people don't want the videos, and so and so and so and so. But
yeah,
you know, this is your guys' platform. This is like, we just want to know how we can take Operation Vets with Nets and grow it and spread the word out there. Like, it doesn't have to be through brands or anything. It can just be through word of mouth. Right, put it this way. Let's say I go to Burger King and I had a bad hamburger, right? And I talk about the hamburger. Oh, it was horrible. And I start telling my friends what happened. It spreads like wildfire, doesn't it? Like that. So why can it not happen with something positive like Operation Vets for Nets? It's a great organization. It does a lot all over the U.S. And it's not just about veterans, so we don't want people to get confused by that or entangled in that. It's about anyone who's willing to take the time, like you, Shane.
Yeah,
So what did that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always good to meet new people. It's always good to share your knowledge and listen to others' knowledge as well. I mean, you know, it's really good to take people out and you have a successful day, catching fish and whatnot. I mean, you know, it really makes things pass and gives you ease of thought on things that are troubling you and so forth. All in all, I mean, it's just a positive outcome for for them all around, getting out away from the real world and actually experiencing that real therapy. You know, I've always been one to like to help people out anyways. I've got several family members that was in the military and so forth. And, you know, I never joined the military myself, but I just kind of felt like, you know, you guys give up so much time and so much of your freedom to go out there and go through training and go overseas and so forth. I mean, you sacrifice a portion of your life for our freedom. So the least I could do is take somebody fishing, you know?
No, and believe me, brother, that's definitely appreciated. And it is truly a blessing within our organization to have diversity in our captains.
Mhm.
You know, some are in the military, some were not. Some come from various different backgrounds, and you know what? Bottom line is as a team, we all come together, and everybody's willing to help. You know, and even our own captains who are in the military, and I bet you some of our civilian captains, it happens to too, because PTSD doesn't just happen to folks that served in the military. You know, unfortunately, that's, you know, it happens more so than not. But even our brothers. Hey, what's going on, Brucey Bruce? We've got a brother, and I never mentioned anybody's name, but was going through a terrible time yesterday with his PTSD. And all I could do is think about him all throughout the day today, and reached out, and he was doing a lot better today. But it happens, you know. And the blessing is, I know with our team is we reach out to one another, you know. But we also, what's a blessing is, a lot of our captains, we still stay in contact with the vets that we take out.
Yep.
You know, because me personally, I think during that time on the water, it could be 6 hours, it could be 12 hours, it could be a whole weekend. You know, you end up building a friendship, and you end up almost being like a what do you call it? Like a support for that person. So where you know, you can like Chris knows, if he's having a bad day, he can pick up the phone, give me a shout. You know, there's other people that Chris has met on our team. He knows he can pick up the phone and talk to somebody. And then we have it going within our own ranks of the organization. We have folks going through various different things. They know they can pick up a phone, and they got a brother or sister to talk to. You know, and it's great because, you know, in the military, we all know we're trained a certain way. We're trained. I don't care what service you come from. We think a certain way. We do things a certain way. And, you know, for some of us who've been out of the military, like for instance, this August, well, let me see here. We're in 24. Next August in 25, I would have been retired just as long as I've spent in the Navy. And so I still have, you know, of course, I'll always have that military mindset, but I've also have adapted to civilian life as well. And so it's just a blessing that not only do we just take folks out, but we build those lasting relationships. We build those outreaches, and, you know, and that's a blessing. And just like, you know, Chris is, you know, he's really become part of our family in a sense, you know. And there's a lot of other folks we took out, you know, and I know I could sit there if we're having an event down here in Virginia Beach or Chesapeake or North Carolina. We're having an event where we need folks to man booths or do something like that. I could pick up the phone, and I know Chris will say, "All right, what time do I meet you and where?"
You got it.
and that's a blessing. And so I know we got some events coming up for the summer where we're going to be setting up something where I'll be calling Chris. So, but
And Chris will be there for you.
I know you will, brother. I know. We got where's the time? All right, we still got 10 minutes. As guys know, I like to be mindful of people's time. Every bit I'm taking out. Absolutely. Here's our Tennessee lead, Ed Jenkins. He says, every vet I've taken out, I consider a friend now. Absolutely, brother. I agree with you. There are some vets I haven't taken out that some of my other captains have taken out, but we all were sitting there on Facebook chatting back and forth. I would consider a friend. No, I did not take you out. I did not enjoy that journey with you. But you know what? You had a journey with our organization. And so, I look at it this way. You got a vet, a friend for life, and and see Bruce journey there. Okay. Bill. So he came out and I spent a good almost 2 months trying to find a captain.
Just look at that statement. It says it all.
It does.
Like,
if you guys ever need anything from me, just let me know.
Thank you, Bruce. It's just that's
and
awesome.
So where he's from, we had no captains. And I said, dude, I'm working with this one, working with it. Finally, we had a captain who joined our team from CatCon. That was 30 minutes from him.
Wow.
And that worked out. They went fishing. And it's just, I get to meet his brother at CatCon, and they hung out with us at our booth and everything. And again, it's with Operation Vets when you're building a family. You truly are. And it's it's awesome. And it's no one person's doing. It's God driven, and just everybody. I'm truly blessed, to have such a team and such veterans that we get to take out. So Shane, like I said, we've got about 7 minutes left. You got any parting words or anything else you want to share about that journey?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had some learning experiences out there that day. We learned that no matter if it's January or July, I will always bring a heater fishing with Rich.
He's a July. And some snow cones, some drumsticks on them steak.
But all in all, we all had a good day. We didn't catch no fish, but that
3/4 of people got skunked.
Yeah. I mean, there was hardly there was a third of the boats that entered the tournament that weighed in fish. I mean, it was just the conditions weren't there. A front came in. I mean,
but did that really matter to you that y'all didn't catch anything?
Honestly. Oh no, the laughing, the memories.
I give up. I quit. I'm moving on. There you go. You guys had it. That's it. It's about the journey, brother. I'm telling you. No one wants to listen.
I'll tell you one part of the journey that scared the crap out of me was when we were coming, when we were going to the weigh-in, we were coming back, and it's like every tree on car was in the water. We were dodging full trees. I mean, we get a clearance, and all of a sudden you see a little branch, and as we're getting closer and closer, Chris is like, go to the left. I janked that thing to the left. We passed this thing, and it actually be a log underwater just floating. It was like Frogger.
Much sticking out.
Yeah.
That much sticking out of the water.
Frogger. We're jumping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I think a couple days later, somebody was pre-fishing, was flying, and it hit and ripped his whole lower unit completely off. So that was a little bit scary
Yeah.
there. And when we were
and that's
cruising,
part of the journey, the
it was.
adventure.
It actually was. So, Chris, you have anything else you want to share before we call it a night?
I do. Thank you very much for this. Look, this is going out to everybody else out there. Okay. Charlie's talked about it before. We've all said the word tonight, journey. This journey that you're on, you're not supposed to do it alone. Especially if you're hurting. Call out to somebody. That right there, being there and available for somebody else is very rewarding for that person. It'll warm you up. So if you're out there right now and you're hurting and PTSD is kicking in, or you're feeling lonely, or you don't know where to turn, give this number a call. Give the website a chance. Vets with Nets, Operation Vets with Nets, and that journey. Don't do it alone. You're a whole lot better to do it with somebody else.
I appreciate that, brother. I truly do. So again, guys, I ask that you subscribe to the YouTube. If you're on Facebook and you're observing on Facebook, go out to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We need those followers. Also, subscribe to River Chronicles. You want to talk about seeing the journey being painted. That's what Charlie does. He captures that journey. But click and subscribe to our channel. And so
Operation Vets with Nets. Don't worry about River Chronicles. Go to Operation Vets with Nets and subscribe. If you can't join as a captain or a vet, there's other ways you can help out. Donations. There's hats. These freaking cool hats.
Matter of fact, we just got a new shipment of the ball caps in. Not that one.
Oh, it's in the middle. Okay.
The ball cap? Nope, I don't have it up here.
Chris got one on.
Chris got one on there.
Yeah, right in the middle.
But our gray ones, we just got them in. We got hoodies. I got to get on the website, even though it's starting to get warm. But I got a bunch of those thick sweatshirt hoodies. But guys, I mean, I had a good time tonight. I always do. I love always hearing people's stories.
Chris is a great narrator. I'm gonna reach out to you because
Bill, I'll send you one. So yeah, it is. It is great, to be able to do what we do. It's great to share that journey with other folks.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully maybe somebody comes across this video on Facebook or on YouTube and watches any of our other videos. This is episode 9, I think. And maybe this might be something, it could be an outlet for somebody.
Yep.
So and that's all what we're about. And we are the organization that we are because of our teammates and the love that our teammates have for providing our vets that real therapy. And so I appreciate Charlie. We got about 50 seconds. Anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, just Mr. Chris, I'm gonna reach out to you. I've been working on something called The Journey for almost 3 years now. And it just the way you presented the story is just very soothing, very easy to follow, very engaging. So I'll reach out to you and see if maybe we could work something out, because that's what it's about, right? It's about that journey. And look what happened this morning in our journey. So I picked up a friend. So I went by myself. I was on the water at like 6:10. It was very scary. I picked him up about 2 miles upriver. We went up 2 more miles. He had a family emergency. we caught an 18-pound freaking buffalo, right, on 4-pound test, by the way, on a zip code splash. Zip code. And anyway, I had to turn around, take them back. Went back. That's why I'm so exhausted and kind of sunburnt and stuff. You probably see the bags under my eyes. But that's the journey. It was extremely scary. Check this out. This was my view this morning. Check this out. I don't know if y'all can see that. Hold on. I didn't hit play, my bad. But that's fog through the spotlight. Now,
you got more visibility than we had.
it was crazy. Like for a second there, I kind of got vertigo. I'm like, okay, because the spotlight, as I would shine it, just reflected everything back, so I could actually see better without it. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I had I had Willy Wonka's through the chocolate factory, my food through the looms a few times this morning. So I was like, okay, what's going on? But then, like like it's weird. Like we're both veterans, a little weird. We were thinking, I was like, man, what if I had all my safety stuff, all my lights were on and everything, but for a second there, like you get a little bit like, okay, like what if there's a log or something like there or anything like that. I know the creek pretty well, but that's the journey. That's the journey that we sign up for, that we need. Someone's needed to survive. And I appreciate you guys, everything that you guys have done for us and for Operation Vets with Nets and for getting the word out there. And like I was talking about earlier, it's just about trying to spread those tentacles out there and just trying to touch people, because there's people that need our help everywhere in the United States, if not over the world. But thank you guys. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys have no idea, just taking time to be here with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So guys, I just want to say good night. God bless, and hope to see you guys out on the water.
See you on the watch.